I wrote the proposal for Yayasan Chow Kit while he was on the... Oh, you didn't know
during
that?
that time.
I had told my father 3 months before he died that I had decided to stay in Malaysia, not go back to New York, and that I wanted to work in Chow Kit. He was sick, and I remember he was lying on the couch. He said, "What are you going to do?" And he says, "You have a PhD from Columbia and you're going to go to Chow Kit. Why?" And I said, "Because I saw something that's bigger than me." I had a hard time explaining to him how I think hit rock bottom, and I was feeling very, very sorry for myself. And I was volunteering in Chow Kit before that. And I saw kids who had less than I did. No education, no birth certificate, sleeping on the streets. And they were still smiling and they were still trying to make a go at it, right? And I thought, who am I? How dare I? Having all these opportunities, how can I waste them? And so I wanted to make sure that I was of service to someone and I was not totally useless. And I thought I could help these kids and that I could be useful, and then there would therefore be meaning in my life, because I thought my life was over, right? We lost everything. My father was sick, whatever. And then he had this heart attack, and I was supposed to be there to pick him up after lunch. And I went off with my girlfriend who, wanted to drag me out of the house for an hour. I was just gone for an hour to go see her mother's art exhibition or pottery exhibition. I went for an hour and it was out of range. So I didn't know that my father had an attack. My mother and my uncle and all had been trying to call me for an hour when I managed to get back into range. And, I knew something was wrong. And it was so funny because I was running into the hospital and I found my sock on the floor, right? So my father's feet were cold before they complained, and he'd said to go get him socks, and I was so lazy to go get socks. So I gave him my pom-pom socks. They were actually pom-pom, those pom-pom shoes, socks. So obviously they were trying to revive him, and the sock fell off and it was on the floor, and I found it. And my heart just like, ugh. And I thought I need to do something, right? Because I couldn't do anything. He was on life support. And so I sat there with my laptop. I had my laptop with me and I started writing the proposal for Yayasan Chow Kit. I called out the chairman of the voluntary organization who I was volunteering with and said, "I have a proposal." And he said, "Are you crazy? Your father is on life support and you wrote a proposal." I said, "I need to do this." And so I'm sending it over. So we had a driver then. So the driver went to send it to him at 7:30 at night. My father passed away at 12:50, before 12. So that's how Yayasan Chow Kit. Actually, it was called NurSalam at that place because we managed to get the place, the rental and the place to move the year later in the partnership with the Ministry. But yeah, that's how it started. So it's very meaningful.
Going through that difficult period, right? Do you remember what helped you recover from...
My friend. I had very good friends because I was not getting on with my mom. I was very, very angry. I was not getting on with my sister. My brother was much younger. He wasn't involved, and I was just angry. And I think I had to channel all this anger, or I would have exploded into doing something, like I said, that was bigger than me. And so I spent all my time in Chow Kit, working with children, trying to figure it out. And I think I thought definitely at first that it would help me dissipate all this anger and angst I had, and to channel the grief and all this negative stuff into something positive. So I gave it my all. And because I've had experience in New York working with children, the same kind of kids, in the same kinds of community, it was easier for me. And I knew what to do, where to go. And I was lucky because I had friends that had this thing, so it was good.
Do you mind me asking what this anger is? Why there is this anger?
I thought life was very, very unfair. I thought life was very, very unfair. I thought my father was a very good man. This shouldn't have happened to him. I thought, what on earth did I do to deserve this? I didn't do anything. Was I not grateful enough? Was I not what enough? What was it? And I think it was to the point where I felt utterly useless. And I thought I'd be, honestly, better off dead than alive, because I thought my life is done. Who am I? I am worthless. This is not the way my life was supposed to be. And what did I do? And then I had to turn all that I feel sorry for myself stuff into, let's do something good and stop thinking about yourself. So I stopped thinking about myself.